Hello, and welcome to another episode of Defining Your Brand podcast. Today on the podcast, I have Lauren Fast, and we talk about how she went through her journey with makeup and how she branded herself during that time of being a consultant, and how that's led into what she does now with helping other people in their journey on how to brand themselves as well. So I hope you enjoy this episode with Lauren Fast. Hey guys, thank you for joining us for another episode of Defining Your Brand podcast. I'm here with Lauren Fast today, and we actually have known each other for several years now. I knew her when she was with a different company, and then I've done some work with her personally as far as photography goes. So I wanted to bring her on today. She is always up to something, and she is always working hard and doing amazing things. So Lauren, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, hey guys, Lauren Fast here, and thank you for saying it that way, John, because you said I'm always up to something. You're always up to something exciting, like
That's
this
true.
amazing podcast. Good for you.
Thank you.
I'm super excited to see you doing this work, and of course, completely honored to be part of your repertoire of episodes. So this is exciting. Mom, single mom, entrepreneur, multiple streams of revenue, love branding. What more is there? That's got to be it, right?
I mean, that's right up my alley, so that's why I had you on. Tell us what you're doing now, and then we'll kind of take it back to the beginning from how you got your start to where you are now.
So what I do now as an entrepreneur is actually have three really steady streams of income. And I say it that way because people in a traditional sense want to know, well, what is it that you do? And then they expect you to have a single answer. And I don't have a single answer to that question. I actually have three very distinct answers.
Okay.
My primary action is with my co-ownership and boutique marketing firm of Fast Bryant Consulting. So I am Lauren Fast and my partner is April Bryant, and together we are Fast Bryant Consulting. We are social and digital strategists in our boutique marketing firm. We work with small to medium-sized businesses with 1 to 5 locations, typically independently, privately owned operations, and in the service industry. In that arena, we do the social and digital strategy, brand development, of course, that's my favorite part, and then we do the content development, deployment, community monitoring and mentioning, and then make sure that everything is in alignment with the goals and objectives of that particular enterprise business. So that's with Fast Bryant Consulting, among other things. Like we really, really love contested political races, John.
Okay.
Like that's something that we love to do. And then of course, crisis communication and issues management is actually something that has surfaced as a fabulous skill set of Fast Bryant Consulting. So that's one.
Okay.
2, I am brand and reputation manager for Atomic Revenue. Atomic Revenue is a revenue operations company based in St. Louis, although we operate coast to coast. So we have people from Washington State to Washington, D.C., and we are a completely virtual company. So even in times where virtual became the push or the necessity, we were totally prepared for that as an all virtual company. And in that operation, we focus on end-to-end revenue production while being unabashedly pro-profit and empowering people through process and data. Our function is to help companies diagnose. There's 3 things we're supposed to do, and of course I can remember one. No, it's diagnose, resolve, and optimize. There we go. Wow, I hope nobody watches this. Just kidding.
Hey, you got a lot on your plate. You got a lot to remember.
Diagnose, resolve, and optimize revenue operations from all aspects of the business, whether that be just your like at the very beginning, your awareness, your lead generation, your sales operations, sales, prospecting, validation, and conversion, all the way to creating raving fans through customer advocacy programs. In that particular arena, I get to do some exciting work in the world of executive branding, executive personal branding. And I'm thrilled to say and I know I shared this with you, John, that my blog on executive branding for Atomic Revenue went live this week. So that's up on the Atomic Revenue website at atomicrevenue.com. So I'd love for people to go take a look at that.
Absolutely.
And then this is what ties into how it is that you and I had the opportunity to meet, but I do makeup on the weekends. So makeup has been something that is my creative outlet. Like some people write and journal, other people paint or they draw, cook, they bake. You know, there's somebody are into music. They write music or they play music or they sing. And my form of art or my form of creative expression remains and always has been with makeup, color on the face. So applying it, new designs, new ways to do it, the most fabulous brushes and the most amazing products to put on. And I do that for all kinds of things like weddings and special events, boudoir photography. And I still do faces on the weekend because it's a lot of fun. That's really relaxing for me.
Nice. So, well, I will say you are doing a lot of these virtual things right now. And so how have you seen the benefit of that and those things being virtual, especially in a time right now? I mean, I have the conversation a lot about, I have seen this coming, that we are going to have a lot of virtual business and a lot of online business, but we just kind of got thrown into it quicker than we were expecting it to. So can you speak a little bit to that and what it's been like to work from home during this time?
So I personally have always been able to work wherever there's Wi-Fi, whether I'm working from the palm of my hand on a cellular device, or I'm actually using my laptop, just wherever it is that there's Wi-Fi. And you and I both know that where I live is not the best Wi-Fi. I live in a very rural area, and my house is actually surrounded 3 sides by a bean field. So we joke that cornfield Wi-Fi is not super strong. So I travel to go to better Wi-Fi locations when necessary, although I am doing this at home.
Yeah.
The push to be virtual, or what that was like for me, was really a fluid transition, because the work that I do with Fast Bryant Consulting is all social and digital. As much as we adore and look forward to and cherish the person-to-person relationships, our coffee chats, our opportunity to take clients to lunch, just to be in community supporting opportunities where we can attend events, and just be a customer to our clients, even in the local environment and restaurants and other businesses. Boy, do we miss that. But we were able to very fluidly transition to a Zoom operation and become this generation of Zoomers, so that we can effectively communicate and maintain that person-to-person contact, or that eye-to-eye contact, and that relationship with our clients. So that was a very fluid transition, as was the transition with working from an at-home environment. So we had a mandatory work from home policy put in place with Atomic Revenue on March 11th. And again, something really easy to do, because we had all of the tools and the software and the equipment already in place to operate that way, which is how we were able to access such an amazing pool of talent coast to coast. You know, when you have this access of when you remove the roads and the walls that separate you between what it is that you're trying to achieve and the person that can help you achieve it. That's what digital and social does anyway. And we say that to our businesses who are looking to better brand and reach a stronger target market. But for me, it's been really a fluid transition. I will say that it has given my children a greater exposure to what it is that I do on a daily basis. Because when I would leave, or I would go to the office for Atomic Revenue, or I would go work at a coffee shop and I would be like in a headset all day, or I'd be on the computer, you can't really see or hear or have that exposure, or that entrepreneurial model behavior of what it is that I'm doing. But my children are like, wow, you're on another call? Like, you're still working? And I'm like, yeah, I do this all day. Like, this is what I do. And so they've had some really immersive exposure to how I speak on a call, or what the business calls sound like, or what it sounds like to do business development or prospecting. They've heard me close sales. They've heard me work with clients and develop strategies. And I think it's really, both of them have kind of been like, hey, that's kind of a neat thing. And even my older son started a business online through all of this. Yeah, no, it's called Maxwell's Emporium. It's pretty hilarious, actually. But
that's fun.
So they're sort of embracing it, and it's really worked. Now, from the makeup business, being face to face, not so much. I haven't done a lot of makeup. I actually did my first face again today since early March. So that's a little different. It's hard to do makeup virtually.
Right. Yeah, I've seen all these people trying to like give tutorials online and teach people over Zoom, like hairdressers, this is how you do it. And that is, that's a little bit of a struggle there. And the reason why I'm wearing a hat today is because my hair hasn't been cut in a couple months. So, and I'm not brave enough to do it myself. So, But yeah, I would love for you to take us back a little bit to where you got your start and what that looks like, that journey has looked like over time to where you are now.
So walk through this with me, John, because you know what some of that journey looks like. But I
Sure.
have really done a lot of deep and kind of personal reflection. I've been working on some more empathetic behaviors toward business
Mm,
and how to consider ways to brand that is the most compelling or the most connective, because we're experiencing right now a period of disconnection, and what we're missing right now is that connectivity and that sense of belonging and that sense of connection that is satisfying
mm,
and gratifying, but then also inspiring and gives us that energy. For some people it gives energy, and for other people, it requires some more effort, but that true human to human connection is what has made the biggest difference in developing strong brands, no matter what the circumstances are or
yeah.
the current state of the world. So I'm a twin, and I really think that being raised with someone who is the exact same age by 1 minute, we're 1 minute apart,
Yeah.
being raised with someone who is the exact same age in the same household with the same, nature nurture environment, and being
Mm,
dressed alike until our teenage years. I
mm-hmm.
think I've been differentiating and branding since 79.
Okay.
And people will say to us who don't know us very well, they'll say, "Oh, you're one of the twins,"
Mm,
without saying like, "You're Lauren and I know you." They'll just say, "I know of you."
right.
And that's where businesses and individuals, so solopreneurs, multipreneurs, whatever it is,
Yeah.
large enterprise businesses have products and services to offer. But unless you truly know that product or that business or that service or that individual, that entrepreneur, people categorize or lump them into this collective, "You're one of those. Oh, you're
Mm,
one of the."
yep.
And so I really thought about that. I think I've been differentiating since I was born to stand out in some way, because I am I know you, and I know your mother. Your mother would always tell me that I was an entertainer.
Mm,
So my sequin background probably said that, but
nod
um,
to that.
but there are versions of this where I wanted to be to make people laugh or to make
Mm,
people happy or to bring joy in my own and unique ways.
yeah.
So I kind of dug back a little further, and I think that's really when this started, or when this skill began to be honed. And in business, I have done things entrepreneurially, like I've been an event planner. I planned
Mm,
events until my children got to an age that I wasn't really able to do that anymore.
mm-hmm.
Then the event planning thing turned just lots of organizational skills into more entrepreneurial spirit, where I took on the business of working in a skincare and makeup industry, which
Mm-hmm.
of course is where our paths connect,
Yeah.
John, where we began to walk that walk together to understand what it was like to develop a brand in a situation where there were 80,000 women in the United States, Canada, and Puerto Rico, all selling the very same product for the very same price. So how then do we differentiate, or how then do we identify ourselves as unique and spirited and valuable businesses that have something to offer,
Yeah.
when truly at the end of the day, we were one of those?
Mm,
Oh, you're one of the salespeople, or you're
yeah.
one of the girls, or you're one of the people that does that, or even compare us to another type of business.
Mm,
So branding became not just sort of important, but the difference maker, the way an individual or a company or a whole operation or organization could identify themselves or differentiate themselves in a unique and colorful way to appeal to their target market,
mm-hmm.
is truly through the craft of developing a human brand, a brand that has been labeled with the characteristics of the humans at the helm of that business.
Mm,
So I started doing that for the business and being a content creator. And through the last, I'm going to say since 2010, oh gosh, that's 10 years. This is
yeah.
2020. So since
Crazy.
2010, I've, had experience with and evidence and tested of what works in digital and social spaces in the form of content creation and brand development. And since then, that's what I've been helping people do.
Nice. Today's sponsor is brought to you by Live Well, Love Well Apparel. Live Well, Love Well Apparel is a t-shirt company, but it's not just a t-shirt company. I mean, how many times have you bought a t-shirt and that you've loved, but it's actually not doing anything other than just being an extra t-shirt in your closet? How many of you have bought something to support a cause or support an organization, and you bought something, but it may be something that you never wear or never really cared about? Live Well, Love Well Apparel is changing that. So how it's doing that is that it is designing t-shirts that you actually want to wear. This material is soft, it's got tri-blend material, it's comfortable, and it's just an amazing t-shirt and something that, like I said, you want to wear and want to pair with other things in your closet. And not only that, but it's a company that gives back. So this company right now is donating the proceeds to No Kid Hungry. No Kid Hungry is an organization that helps kids that may not have access to food at home. So when they go to school, that they have a meal that's provided for them. Right now in this pandemic, though, kids don't have that opportunity. They're not at school where school lunches are provided. So No Kid Hungry is making sure that these kids that normally have food provided for them still have a meal. So go check out Live Well, Love Well Apparel by going to lwlwapparel.com. So what does it mean to you? I mean, obviously you included that in kind of what you just described, but I'd love to hear like your take on what does it mean to be your own brand? Because I have this conversation with people all the time, because just like any other industry, real estate agents, insurance agents, photographers, there's always, oh, there's so many of you. It's oversaturated. I hear that all the time. The market's oversaturated, and have even been told, oh, I wish we could all just put everyone in one category on one web page so we could just go shop. And I'm like, no. That's not the point. You want someone that actually is different from everyone else, not just in a sea of other people. So what is, can you speak to that? Just like what it means to you to have your own personal brand?
There's two things there. What does it mean to have your own personal brand? And then there's also a lesson in choices. So Gretchen Rubin has this really great book that I researched and studied and actually participated in. It's sort of a progressive, like self-help workbook, I think, The Happiness Project. And in there, she talks about having freedoms with your limitations. So once you know what your limitations are, or you can really define the things that are your priorities or your areas of focus, then you just swim in that. And I like to use the line from French Kiss where she's like, go ahead and swim in it till your fingers get all pruny. So I help people, or what does this mean? I help people find out what it is that makes them uniquely themselves, to celebrate that, their unique characteristics, which gives them a narrow scope in which to focus, and then just swim in that and find all the freedoms they can within those limitations so that they can target their specific audience. Because while there are many photographers, and there are many, what else did you say? Photographers and what, like, but still, like, there's banks.
Yeah.
There's
like agents, people that have
real estate.
Yeah.
While there are many of those, they all have the opportunity to target a specific audience. So then that narrows that focus a little bit further, can narrow that focus. And then even further from there, then exercise their characteristics or broadcast and use to brand their services with their unique characteristics. And that narrows and refines that target or that brand even further. So while there are many for a reason. You know, one of the most unpredictable things in the work that we do is with the humans that we do it. So the way that you can find the right fit, the right vibe, the right connection, just make sure that you're really like, this person hears me, they see me, they know what I'm talking about. I relate with them. I can see myself having a cup of coffee with them. I can see myself going out and having a drink with them. I really get them, is because of their branding, of their unique human characteristics, and then their target to who it is that they want to serve best also.
Yeah.
So I really think finding the limitations and then just swimming in it till your fingers get all pruny.
And I think that something that I've kind of learned throughout this is that you can be in the same industry and even in the same niche as someone, but the one place where that's going to kind of break down is that no person is you. So it's like, no matter if you're even in the same exact field as someone else, if someone doesn't connect with that person on a personal level, then it doesn't matter. They'd rather work with someone that they actually connect with and maybe sacrifice a little bit somewhere else, because they want to make sure that's a good interaction and they connect with them and they want to do more work with them. So um, I think I see a lot of people trying to emulate other people in their same industry. And I think that's where you can have a little bit of breakdown, because it's good to have, be like, okay, that worked for them, I'm going to follow that business model. But you got to draw the line at trying to be someone else, because that's when your own personal brand comes into play.
It's how you represent yourself authentically, and not everybody's comfortable with authentic. Not everybody's comfortable with the sound of their own voice or the discomfort of their own feelings. Not everybody's cool with that. So that does take some work. That takes some practice. It takes a coach. It takes a person like me who does the branding that really just encourages an individual, like, this is something that stands out about you, and you should use this to attract your ideal market, to attract your ideal target market. And I appreciate, like, the copycat kind of syndrome definitely happens. And I think that there is something to that. Finding a practice or a process that works well. And if you're new and you just really don't have a sense of your identity yet, then go ahead and swim in that for a little bit. I said swim in that again, so I need to find a new way to say that. But to do that until you find what works for you, and just be brave enough to take those steps to say, I'm going to start here, but this isn't where I'm going to finish. And I do think it's very, very much an ongoing process.
Yeah. So some of the people that you work with in your business, as far as like the branding side of things go, do you see a common theme of maybe things that they run into, struggles, questions that you're constantly answering that are similar across the board when it comes to the branding field?
So the answer to that question actually has a pretty recent example yesterday. So this is fresh on my mind after having spoken with agents. So like insurance or real estate type agents. So these are, in many cases, I'm going to say a one-woman show, because I want to talk about this then from the female perspective specifically. Okay. A common, like a frequently asked questions I get when people are working on an executive level of personal branding is, are my unique characteristics, are my hobbies, are my skills, is that bragging? And so there's a whole set of individuals that don't put that forward, or they fear it, or they're embarrassed to, or some part of them feels shame when saying, these are my skill sets, or this is something I'm very good at. And there's certainly ways to craft that messaging, but I do hope to help and inspire and encourage and show the value through the services and the generally the revenue that's increased as a result of those actions, but that those unique characteristics and skill sets and involvement in the community is part of those unique characteristics and differentiators for businesses. And I think that is one of the things I come across a lot when coaching female entrepreneurs.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. I can even see just like where insecurity comes into thinking. I hear a lot like, people aren't going to want to hear what I have to say, or someone else, and just between anyone, like someone's already saying that, and we become almost so observant of what other people are doing that we end up not doing anything ourselves.
I love that, John. An example of that are podcasts. I love that you started up. I mean, how many podcasts are there? There's lots of podcasts. There's loads of blogs. You know, how many YouTube videos are there? Like there's enough to keep us all entertained for the rest of our lives and then some. So why would I do that? Because the world needs to hear what you have to say in the tone and the tenor and the characteristics and the intent with which you wish to give it.
Yeah. And I think that's the case for everyone.
It is. It really is. And if what you have to say resonates with your audience, those are your people.
Right.
If what you have to say doesn't resonate with the audience members, they ain't your people. Like,
Right.
that's not your person.
Right.
So don't worry about that. You know, like
Right.
that's how you continue to filter and find your focus.
Yeah, and I think that's where the downfall would be to be in a sea of people on one site, or to be like, let someone go shop somewhere, because then you are attracting everyone for that one industry, and not the small group of people that are just meant for you to hear what you have to say.
And I think that goes for people in different personality inventories. So like if you're familiar with the DISC inventory, or if you just think about people in the dichotomies of the world, introverts, extroverts, male, female, or, you know, whatever identified pronoun, or I work from home, or I work in an office, or, you know, like what are the different, there are so many different ways to appeal to someone. Like a common misconception about myself, believe it or not, is that I'm totally extroverted, when I in fact need my alone time, like big time. I really, really do.
Yeah.
And so to be an extroverted introvert, or, you know, to have the ability to kind of entertain, but then need about a day of silence,
Right.
you know, that speaks to a totally separate and unique set of individuals.
Yeah. Nice. So tell us a little bit now, going forward, what does, you know, you're all, like I said, when we started this, you're always up to something. Do you have a vision going forward? Are you working on what you're just focused on what you're working on right now, or what does that look like for you?
I am working on kind of a pet project of myself, which is for me. It's actually laurenfast.com, which is really meant to be a warehouse and a showcase of all of the opportunities that I have, or the skill sets that I possess, for the express purpose of business development, for Fast Bryant Consulting, for Atomic Revenue, and then for the like speaking opportunities that I have coming up within the next year and then beyond. There are some really unique and special ways that I present the information of entrepreneurship to single mothers who are looking to find their voice and recognize that they have value to add to the world, and just really giving them the courage and the strength and the accountability to do that. The different ways that I showcase that through live video trainings and the world of celebrating all things that are beautiful. Like you saw my teacup, John.
Yeah.
And you may know I have worked with fancy teacups for years, but it became a thing many years ago when I had my backdrop all set up and I was ready with what I was going to say. And it was for a show, and we were recording, and we have lighting, and we have audio. We had all these amazing things, but the teacup that I was using at the time actually had a chip in it.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that people noticed. Yeah, I know I've told you the story before, but people were like, oh my gosh, there's a chip in your teacup. And I was like, I put so much energy and effort into everything else. We have to see the flaw. And it caught me off guard. I'll be totally honest that at that moment, I just thought, I was like, okay, this can be part of a brand. And I just immediately switched and went, well, this is my favorite teacup and it has a chip in it, but it just proves that we can be flawed and still be very, very valuable to someone or something, and still bring joy and help people feel connected and loving and wonderful. And so we started celebrating all things beautiful through that.
Nice.
So while the image experience started all of that, it certainly continues into all other forms of branding and development and company successes when you celebrate the unique and sometimes flawed, but totally awesome characteristics. So I am working on that, developing that more completely, of like everything I've ever gone through leads to now.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, I love that, because I think it's funny how people can pick apart the one thing, but then it's also overwhelming for people, which I'm sure that's why a lot of people don't want to get into things or don't want to try things, because they think, well, everybody's going to see that one thing. And instead of turning it into something positive, or instead of making it into a brand or whatever you want to call it, it's like we become those people in our own mind before we even allow ourselves to attempt something.
Our inner critic is too harsh. It really
Mhm.
is. And we have been trained to hear or to project other people's perspectives through their inner critic as our inner voice.
Mm,
And that, I think, is what freezes people from being truly authentic and really just embracing their power. Men, women, it doesn't matter. To go with your gut and to really go with what I know this can be great.
yeah.
And just taking that first step to making it great and not fearing what the people, what Brene Brown says is the people who aren't in the arena,
Mm,
their opinion doesn't matter.
yeah.
The people that haven't stepped out and started their own podcast, or the people that aren't identifying themselves in a space, or the people who aren't researching and developing and testing their ideas and becoming active practitioners on a regular basis so that there's consistency in their evidence.
Yeah.
Um, if there's somebody that's alongside me that's walking that walk too, then yeah, I will totally listen to what they have to say in a very constructive way because I look forward to bettering myself always.
Right.
But there will always be a critic. But
Mm.
the cheap seats are cheap for a reason.
Mm.
So we just have to really tune that out and honor and respect our own strength and our own voice, and not be quieted and not be softened and not be tamed by our inner critic.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for the people that are maybe want to follow you or see what you're up to, what are some of the different ways that people can find you and kind of see what you're doing going forward?
Okay, great. Thank you for saying that. We have fastbryantconsulting.com, and April and I also run a business support group, which is just a free Facebook group that people can dive into. And amongst that community of business owners, we share things that are just free because they're living up inside our heads, but valuable to businesses.
Yeah.
And then atomicrevenue.com is a great place to land. And of course, I would love everybody to go take a look at the blog that just went up. That's available. And I'm really easy to find on social media. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Lauren Fast, I'm there. So
Awesome.
Pretty easy to find. I love connecting. My LinkedIn is a great place to land. So
Okay.
I have made myself very available in the digital and social world. So if you look up Lauren Fast and you find the crazy hair, you'll find me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we'll definitely make sure to link all of those links below so people can find you and the right people can find you where they're looking for help in the different areas that they're looking for. So
Awesome. John, this is really, I love that you're doing this. I think that you're just providing so much goodness to the world with your strength and your passion for this. I know that you dove in, and I think you're figuring it out. Like, you're building this airplane as you go also, like all of us that are entrepreneurs and just
yeah, especially right now. Well, that's what we're all
every
doing.
day,
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate
Yeah.
that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and we'll make sure to link everything below so people can find you and see what you're up to, and make sure that they connect with you online.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.